Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show where we love Seattle Pro Sports. I'm your host, Mikey, and we got another Seattle Seahawks 7-round mock draft for you. This is number 25, so you've been watching these. You know what it is, so let's get straight into it, okay? While we're waiting for our pick, I will say thank you to everybody that has subscribed because we reached 160 subscribers to the channel now. And if you're watching right now and you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe because, you know, sorry, I just got distracted. But because it helps the show grow, and that's what we want to do with this. We want to keep growing this show and build this community and have a lot of fun things to talk about. Okay, so I got a little distracted because I got some trade offers here offered to us at pick 16 that are some good trade offers, right? That would be good. But the scenario that I told you guys, I've been waiting for this to happen for 25 different simulations that we've done on this channel now. I've been waiting for this scenario to happen. It has finally happened. It has been coming so close where it was like 3 or 4 days in a row. This player was getting mocked at pick 15 right before us. So we were just barely missing out on me getting to play out this scenario. Well, it has presented itself to us. So because it's finally happened, we're going to reject all these trade offers, even some of them being really good ones, because we're going to pretend that we are John Schneider. And at pick 16, one of the guys considered to be the best players in the draft, regardless of position, tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia is available. We're going to take him here. He's a receiving tight end. Not a particularly huge tight end, but he's not small. He's got strength. He's got speed. So he's strong enough to be a tight end. He's mostly a receiver. So you'll hear that kind of talk about how, oh, well, he's not as good of a blocker. He might not be as good of a blocker as the top blocking tight ends, but what he gives you in receiving, as a receiving tight end, more than makes up for any perceived lack of blocking that he might have. Again, this is the type of tight end that can blow the doors off of a defense. He is the matchup nightmare in a modern NFL that you just love to see. Tight ends are going to have a hard time covering him. Not tight ends. He is a tight end. Linebackers are going to have a hard time covering him. Safeties, corners, they're going to have a hard time covering him because of his size, speed, his body type. That's just, that's not something that is easily dealt with, right? So again, this is why we've seen this guy mocked as high as a top 5 pick, but then also some people having him mocked to the Seahawks, and then some people having him mocked even lower because he's a tight end, right? But I mean, at 6'4", 240, the just absolutely great hands that he has. 32 and 3/4 inch arms, the 9 and 3/4 inch hands. We're talking about this guy being like an absolute elite tight end at the next level, right? So, yeah. I'm glad this situation has finally fell to us just so that we could do it and say that we've done it and see how the rest of the draft plays out behind us. Because again, with how the Seahawks, have positioned themselves in this draft, if they don't trade out of 16, that means their next pick isn't until 81. So taking a player at pick 16 and not trading back and picking up more picks in the second and third round, it does. You are missing out on some really good talent, a lot of talent that I think is really good talent in that range in this year's draft. But in this situation, we are saying that we are taking a guy that is, you know, you're looking at a guy that you could say like, hey, I see what Sam Laporta did last year. I think Brock Bowers can do the same or even better, and could do it year in and year out, and be your perennial Pro Bowl tight end. So let's do it. We finally get the chance to do it. Let's do it. Brock Bowers, pick 16. Okay, and then our next pick doesn't come till 81, so we're sitting here waiting a while, and let's see what is available to us. Again, that is the trade-off for actually staying at pick 16. Okay, so now that we've paid at pick 16, now we have to figure out what's available to us at our next pick. What do we still need? And how are we going to take care of those needs and still get talented players? Like, again, Ricky Pearsall and Jalen McMillan, they're still available here. Javon Bullard, the safety out of Georgia, is still here. Trevin Wallace, linebacker, is here. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is here. Roger Rosengarten is here. Okay, so we got some Dominic Pooney out of Kansas is here. So we got Cedric Van Pran Granger's still here. Again, that's another guy that's a good pick, that center, but you could move him to guard with Oluwatimi playing center. But for me, with these players and with our coaching staff, I will go ahead and I'm going to take Roger Rosengarten here. I'm going to say that John Schneider likes him. That obviously Scott Huff is already going to have worked with them. We'll say that Mike McDonald says, yeah, you know what? I'm from the Harbaugh coaching tree. We heard what Harbaugh said the other day about the offensive line and how it is, every position and every unit, of positions on the team all depend on the offensive line playing good, right? And he mentioned, like, the quarterback, if the quarterback's going to play good, he needs the offensive line to be good. If the receivers are going to be good, it's because the offensive line was good enough to block. If again, if the defense is going to be good, they depend on the offensive line to be good, because, like you said, hey, do you like those 12-play drives on the offense so that you get to rest over here on defense? Well, yeah, you do. So we're going to get somebody that can play multiple positions across that offensive line. So you'd think he'd be able to compete for that starting position at guard. We'll get Roger Rosengarten there. Okay, and then here we are. Pick 102. We do got a trade offer from Las Vegas. But there are players available. There's Trevin Wallace, Dominic Pooney, Cade Stover, Mason Smith. There are Tyron Hopper. There are players in this range that I do like, that I don't want to miss out on. So if we are at 102 and Trevin Wallace is still available, then I'll take Trevin Wallace. So we're going with that. And again, we got a trade offer from Denver. I don't want to take it because of the way this mock is falling out. Here we are at pick 118. And there's some players available. Dominic Pooney, Brandon Coleman, Malik Mustafa. These are still players that are available in this range that I think can help this team out. Again, we got Roger Rosengarten, but I think Dominic Pooney, the guard out of Kansas, he's another guy that could be competing for a spot on this line. And at very worst, be a very good depth piece for you. Depth piece for you in year one, and there's always injuries across the offensive line. It's not only is it important for your starters to be good, if you can get good backups, it's it's something you want to have. Our next pick isn't going to come till 179. We haven't made any trades in this one, so again, we took Brock Bowers 1 overall. So this is kind of how this is playing out for us. This one makes no sense. We got a trade offer sent to us from Tennessee. Very bold trade offer. Like I said, it makes no sense. They want us to send them our 179 for their 182. So we're moving back 3 spots, and then our 235 for their 242. So in both situations, we're moving back. Makes no sense. So here we are, pick 179. Okay, who do we want to get here? At pick 179, we got like Curtis Jacobs is available here. Josh Proctor is available here. Maris Liufau is still here. Zion, edge out of Washington, still here. Tanner McLaughlin. I think, again, like linebackers, that our linebacker group that we've brought in so far in free agency, ton of 1-year deals. The safeties that we have left on this team, short-term deals, 1-year and 2-year deals. So let's fill out that room. We're not going to draft a lot of players because there are, the players that we expect to be starters are 1- and 2-year deals, but there are other, safety type players on the team. So we will take Josh Proctor out of Ohio State in this one. And that'll be our safety for this draft. And then we're going to pick up 192. Okay, at 192 here, let me just kind of take a look around at what we got. Okay, yeah, so, at pick 192, we got somebody like a linebacker. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to do in this situation. I'm going to take linebacker Curtis Jacobs out of Penn State, and then our next pick is until 235. So we didn't make any trades in this draft. Okay, so let me take a look at what we've done so far. Okay, what can I get? Oh, and I guess I'll mention here that the Seahawks today, they went out and signed what's his name again? Chenault Jr. So we he is that another receiver type that is going to be a returner type. So you're thinking their thought process is, okay, now they have D. Eskridge and they have Chenault back there, right? So a lot of teams are thinking about using 2 returners in the back there with the new kicking or the new kickoff rules. So without going into the draft, they did already pick up another wide receiver. So do I need to pick up a wide receiver? At this point, we can bring some in through undrafted free agency here. So at this spot, I'll go ahead and I will take Gabriel Murphy here. Okay, and that is going to be all of our picks because we ended up not making any trades based on the way the rest of the draft fell after taking Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers being our #1 overall pick, tight end out of Georgia. Again, the tight end that can run routes, um, has the speed and size to get to be such a mismatch for linebackers, safeties, corners. Um, Again, the route running and the hands from somebody like him is amazing. And imagine him in that Ryan Grubb offense. Yeah, you can imagine it, can't you? So, especially with the teammates he'd have around him this year, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Noah Fant, and yeah, imagine they go empty and you have again DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Noah Fant, and Brock Bowers out there. Oh my goodness, that's something fun to think about. Then we got, our next pick didn't come till 81, so we got Roger Rosengarten there. Again, somebody that can play multiple positions across the offensive line. Getting him in the 3rd round, I think that is, that would be great for us. Again, he could fill that right tackle spot if Abe Lucas does have any more problems. They say he's going to be healthy to play this season, and he'll be okay. But for that insurance, you got Roger Rosengarten that could step into that spot if he needed to, but also he could be competing for a guard spot right away. Trevin Wallace, a linebacker that we like out of Kentucky. Dominic Pooney, another guard, again, that even in that stage, maybe potentially because of, look at our offensive line right now, potentially he's competing for a starting job, and if not winning one, then he is a very good depth piece. Josh Proctor, safety out of Ohio State. I don't believe that we have taken Josh Proctor in any of the previous ones. So, again, I guess I'll give you a little bit about him. 6'2", 205. Safety out of Ohio State. Again, another school that you like to get safety. It's Ohio State. They generally have, they generally have a lot of good athletes there. 32-inch arms. 4.55, 40 yards. So not that great. 32.5-inch vertical, 10-foot broad jump. So he's got some explosiveness there. Not bad. Where we got him in the draft, I think he's a good piece that you can develop in Mike McDonald's system. And then after that, Curtis Jacobs, linebacker out of Penn State. Again, some depth. Gabriel Murphy, again, a piece that we've liked for depth and possible development. If you can develop him into becoming a starter by year 2, then that would be great, because again, another guy that athletically tests off the charts. So there you go. There is that mock. Let me know what you thought of this one. So what do you think about Brock Bowers, picking him at 16, not trading back, not getting any extra picks, and how that kind of affects? There's a lot of players that we've taken in these other mock drafts where we've traded back, right? A lot of players that we take that I'm like, oh man, I really like these players, especially when you get multiple picks in the 2nd and 3rd round, 4th round range. You kind of end up with a lot of players that really fill a lot of needs and that are pretty good players. on your team. This one, we still did pretty okay, but it definitely doesn't feel like the other ones. But is Brock Bowers and him being, that much of an elite guy, is that enough of a difference for you to be okay with not getting as much talent in that middle portion of the draft where there seems to be a ton of talent? Let me know what you think about that. Give me those grades: A, B, C, D, F. And yeah, if you're watching, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's keep growing this thing. Leave those comments. Also, if you're listening on the podcast version, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, leave a 5-star rating and a written review, because it all helps the show grow, and I really appreciate that. And thank you for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken. So take cover, because with a sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.